ePoch, The Alchemist God. Chapter 1. The Catalyst. In the vast cosmic void, a radiant, swirling nebula spans the dark expanse, its colors shifting between deep blues, purples, and iridescent greens. A brilliant, star-filled tapestry stretches beyond the nebula, hinting at the mysteries of the universe. A booming voice states, as the primordial flames of creation dance in the cosmic void, breathing life into the boundless expanse. The third epoch is about to begin. Sword stands alone on a narrow pillar that seems to extend infinitely downwards. All around him, a breathtaking and colorful galaxy stretches into the cosmos, its stars forming intricate patterns and constellations. The colors of the galaxy shift with an almost surreal quality, ranging from deep blues and purples to vibrant pinks and greens. The dream leaves an impression of a limitless, boundless space, and the strange and mesmerizing beauty of the unknown. "I stand on the edge of the unknown," Sword whispered. The room was bathed in a dim, ethereal light, filtering through a tattered curtain. The safe house, a two-story corner cafe building that had seen better days, was now a sanctuary for the rebel group, Aeon. Its walls bore witness to the group's ingenuity, adorned with an eclectic array of gadgets, music bands, hand-painted murals depicting scenes of resilience and unity, and rebel insignias. Sword's room was a modest space, sparsely furnished. A simple bed occupied one corner, its sheets neatly tucked. At the opposite end, a small desk held the weight of the world, cluttered with personal items and aging electronic devices. The room exuded a somber ambience. Suddenly, the door burst open, and Lucky entered with urgency. Her face, framed by a pair of cat-eared headphones and glasses, was illuminated by a shaft of muted sunlight that seeped through a gap in the curtain. As the light danced across the walls, it served as a reminder of the patched-up nature of their living space, reflecting the building's history of repairs and modifications, testimony to the group's resourcefulness. "Sword!" Lucky yelled. Sword, who had been roused from his slumber, yawned as he replied. "What's the hurry?" Frustration laced Lucky's tone as she responded. "The hurry is we need everyone sharp and ready. You're the leader, and they look up to you. Come on." Sword couldn't help but smirk as he quipped. Okay, it's not like the guards are expecting us for drinks." Impatience tinged Lucky's voice as she continued. "It's not just about getting up. It's about being fully prepared. We don't know what's out there in that desert or in the cave." Anxiety crept into her words as she confessed. "Sword, I have to admit, I'm scared. This mission, it's unlike anything we've ever done. We'll be so far from the domes, and there's no telling what we'll face out there." Sword, in a comforting tone, reassured her. "I get it. This is uncharted territory for all of us, and it's natural to be scared. You're smart, and anyone who says they aren't scared is a liar or stupid or both," Sword said. "Thank you, I needed to hear that," Lucky replied. Their conversation was interrupted by a commanding voice from the doorway. "You two done with the morning chit-chat?" Shield's impatience was palpable. "The others are ready, and it's time to move." Sword and Lucky shared a look of determination. Lucky teased, "Just be glad he wasn't the one to wake you up." The main area of the converted shop was a spacious, open expanse, with its walls adorned with a rich tapestry of murals and makeshift decorations that hinted at the resilient spirit of its occupants. Rebel insignias and graffiti art decorated the walls, telling the story of defiance and unity in the face of a dystopian world. In the center of this communal space, a makeshift meeting area had been arranged. Several battered and mismatched chairs were arranged in a haphazard circle, each bearing the scars of use and modification. At its heart was a worn but functional holographic table, its surface bearing the scars of countless conversations. Sword and Lucky quickly made their way through the safe house, joining the rest of their group in the dimly lit main area. The members, each with their distinct skills and backgrounds, were gathered around the worn but functional holographic map of the region. They were going underground, through a cave to an allegedly defunct military facility. "How's it looking?" Sword inquired with a hint of concern as he approached the group's intel operator, Raven. Her eyes bore a similar expression, and she stepped aside with a focused, analytical look. "Our sources have been tracking ground movements around the entrance," Raven explained. "It seems they're not expecting any trouble, but you know how it goes in this line of work. Complacency can be our greatest ally and our deadliest foe. We've got to be ready for anything. This particular facility must be abandoned or defunct, because the traffic is very low, but they are guarding it for some reason." Raven's thorough analysis of the situation, coupled with her understanding of the inherent unpredictability of their line of work, resonated with Sword. Meanwhile, Viper and Lucky engaged in an intense conversation about the mission's technical details, their heads close together. "This EMP device is a game changer for us," Viper explained animatedly. "This thing emits a burst of electromagnetic radiation that fries electronic circuits within its radius. The facility's security systems won't know what hit them." Lucky, her determination evident, responded, "I've got everything set up on my end." Viper's detailed explanation of the EMP's function and Lucky's confidence in her hacking skills painted a vivid picture of their technical preparation. Taka, a grizzled and weathered mercenary, then made his presence known, stepping into the circle with a grin. "It's good to be back with the old crew," Taka said. "We've faced worse together and come out on top every time." As the conversation went on, Shield took hold of the EMP device and thrust it into the air, emphasizing its significance. "Protect the payload," Shield commanded. "If we lose this, we can't get another one. If we get ambushed before we can set this off, protect it with your life." The EMP device was the largest Sword had ever seen, even bigger than an Agni battery and seemingly heavier, yet Shield handled it with ease, as if it were no more than a fizzy bottle. Shield continued, addressing the team, "Only the best of our guys are coming on this mission. The rest of you keep the area clear for us. There's no telling who can tail us back." After some brief back and forth about who was and wasn't going, Shield said, "Okay, guys, get to your vans." At the entrance of the underground facility, two guards sat at a secure checkpoint. Their sleek, metallic armor gleamed in the dim emergency lighting, casting an eerie glow that revealed no vulnerability. As they remained at their posts, one of the guards, filled with an unspoken disdain, stood up. "I'll be back," he said, as he got up and removed his helmet to reveal a snarl on his face. "I never did like you," he muttered under his breath, as he pointed his military-issued laser pistol at the back of his unsuspecting cohort. His fingers found a button on a small disc hidden within his forearm compartment, concealed by the armored plating. In an instant, all the lights in the corridor flickered off, plunging the area into darkness. The crew continued down the long, cavernous corridor leading to the entrance of the facility, their steps echoing in the dimly lit passage. As they walked, they heard the distinct sound of a laser shot echoing through the underground complex. However, the crew was not surprised by this development. It had been part of the plan. They proceeded until they reached the guard, who was holding the other's helmet in his hand, standing over the fallen body of his comrade. Tension hung in the air as they approached. Suddenly, a transmission came through on the guard's communication device, inquiring about the situation. The defector raised the device to respond, his voice calm and composed. "It was just a blackout," he assured the voice on the other end. "Everything seems to be fine. We'll have the power back on shortly." His words were meant to allay suspicion and ensure that their intrusion remained undetected. The crew watched, their faces hidden beneath helmets and hoods, their hearts pounding in anticipation of the next steps in their mission. The facility's secrets lay just beyond, waiting to be uncovered. The crew, now numbering 18 in total, broke into 3 groups of 6, positioning themselves strategically around the door. 2 teams of 6 positioned themselves on either side of the door, ready to breach it, while the third group stood about 20 feet from the entrance, guarding the EMP device. "Lucky," informed the others, "I'm combating the backup system to prevent it from kicking on, but I can't hold it off for long." Shield turned to Sword, asking, "You doing the honors?" Sword nodded. "My pleasure." Sword, along with the defector, approached the door. The guard, Tyson, move to unlock the door. This particular entrance was analog and required manual operation, a wheel lever to be turned. The group had carefully set up a Faraday net, hoisted on tent sticks, creating a secure area to protect some of the delicate equipment. Tyson introduced himself to Sword, who replied with assurance, "I'm Lee, but everyone calls me Sword." "Don't worry, we'll be getting out of here, Tyson," Sword assured him. "These guys won't." He gestured toward the door. As Tyson began cranking the wheel lever, Sword primed the EMP device and it started beeping. Sword quickly retreated behind the Faraday net, while Tyson continued to work the door open, his determination unwavering. The EMP device screeched to life, and this time, it not only disabled the electronic systems but also plunged the facility into total darkness, even extinguishing the emergency lights. The crew was now shrouded in darkness, their senses heightened as they moved swiftly to execute the next phase of their mission, now hopefully better hidden from any potential threats. "Vision on," Shield commanded, and various clicks and whirring sounds followed as the crew activated an array of infrared, thermal, and night vision devices. Tyson, who had just finished opening the door, collapsed. Viper quickly pulled out a scanning device and examined him. He had a heart device. The first one he used was too small to, but this one, he knew he would die opening the door, Viper explained. Sword urged, "Let's not let his death be in vain. There are only 6 men inside. Let's make this quick," said Lucky. While they were occupied with the defector's body, Shield activated a cloaking device, rendering himself nearly invisible. One of his eyes lit up and glowed red. Like a specter, he quietly moved to the far corner of the production room and overheard nervous guards discussing the door opening and the failure of the emergency lights. One of the guards attempted to get a response from the 2 fallen guards, and that's when Shield struck. He cupped the man's mouth with his massive cyborg hand, creating a vice-like grip on the man's lower jaw. Simultaneously, he thrust a wrist blade through the guard's neck, almost decapitating him. Sword noticed Shield's absence but knew that time was of the essence. He signaled the team to move in. The crew was well armed with military-grade firearms, but Sword had the team's only laser rifle, of which he was quite proud. As they filed into the production room, a guard on the catwalk spotted them and yelled, "Intruders!" Before retreating to the back of the room. The crew had been unaware before, but now they noticed 2 gigantic mounted turrets stationed high up against the ceiling, both pointed directly at them. On a signal, both turrets opened fire on the group. 2 of the guards who were up on the catwalks took cover behind half fortifications, firing out of the slots. The crew found themselves under attack from 4 different directions, and Lucky's scan indicated there were still at least 4 soldiers unaccounted for. The odds were not in their favor, but they were determined to press on. Amid the chaos, some of the team members were hit by the high-caliber bullets as they scrambled for cover behind storage containers and metal girders. While these makeshift barriers could shield them from laser attacks, they offered little protection against the turret's bullets. Panic set in as the crew found themselves in an unexpected situation. Suddenly, a powerful laser beam shot up from the back of the room, touching the ceiling, and swiftly moved across the room. It sliced through the gun barrels of the turrets, sending a barrage of bullets and shrapnel flying haphazardly across the room. The machines powered down, and 2 soldiers jumped out of their now useless weapons. "I'm going up," Sword barked into his communication device. Taking this opportunity, he scaled a ladder to the catwalk where he caught a guard by surprise. Normally, their armor was resistant to laser weapons, but the EMP had rendered the suit's energy shielding function inoperable. Sword's laser shot cut right through the man's armor, and he fell to the ground, motionless. The tide of the battle was shifting in their favor. In the heart of the underground facility, chaos reigned as the clanking hatch of a silo in the backroom burst open, releasing a swarm of assault drones into the chamber. Sword's expletive hung in the air as he swiftly turned to confront this new threat. His laser rifle blazed to life as he opened fire, sending searing beams of energy toward the approaching drones. But amidst the chaos, Sword failed to detect a guard with a laser shot aimed at his blind spot. The high-energy beam struck him squarely in the chest, its force propelling him over the railing of the catwalk, sending him tumbling to the floor below. In the back of the room, Shield fought with unmatched ferocity. He had already subdued another guard and threw him atop the first guard's body. When the assault drones rushed into the room, Shield was in close proximity to the silo hatch. With an inhuman display of reflexes, he leaped high into the air, his colossal form moving with agility and grace. In one swift motion, Shield seized two of the drones and brought them close to his chest, like a bear hug, effectively neutralizing the threat. The drones detonated in a fiery explosion as they hit the ground, and a cloud of smoke and debris enveloped Shield. Focusing on Shield, the remaining drones unleashed a barrage of laser fire. In the midst of the chaos, 3 guards ventured into the room through a corridor created by the storage containers. Their weapons were raised and aimed at the fallen Sword. Just as they prepared to fire upon him, Taka and the rest of the team leaned around the corners of the containers, their weapons blazing. Bullets and laser fire rained down upon the unsuspecting soldiers, cutting their lives short. The 3 guards fell lifeless. With haste, Taka rushed to his friend's side and began to drag Sword to safety by the door through which they had entered the room. Eyes peeled. "Guys, I got Sword," Taka yelled as he continued to pull Sword away from the line of fire. "Sword, you okay, buddy?" Sword, standing with Taka's assistance, grimaced as he removed his vest and shirt. A painful burn covered the entirety of his torso, the mark of the laser shot he had taken. Taka, relieved that his friend was alive and relatively well, couldn't help but crack a joke. "Ooh, I bet that burns." He chuckled, his humor a testament to the camaraderie among the group, even in the face of danger. Sword's advanced armor had managed to disperse the laser shot's impact, preventing it from causing fatal damage. As he contemplated the close call, he couldn't help but be amazed by the level of technological advancements in military gear. The crew remained on high alert as Shield approached. Sword couldn't hide his concern. "Where the hell were you?" he asked Shield, acknowledging the critical juncture they had faced. Taka chimed in, reporting, "There are 2 guards that ran out the back and are escaping." Shield's calm demeanor was unwavering as he responded, "I took care of them." His nonchalant tone contrasted with the gravity of the situation, earning him a silent but respectful acknowledgement from the rest of the group. Shield had certainly proven himself to be a formidable ally. The news of their casualties weighed heavily on the team. Raven somberly noted, "We lost 5 men. The loss of their comrades was a painful reminder of the dangers they faced." Shield swiftly made a decision. "We will take their bodies with us, but leave the defector." "Taka, search everything." Taka received his orders and was quick to respond. "On it. I'll search everything." "What was that laser beam? Did you guys see that?" Sword asked, seeking answers from his team. However, it seemed that the chaos and confusion of the firefight had prevented anyone else from noticing the laser beam. Only Sword had observed the extraordinary event. Shield began to explain, "I found a laser weapon in the back room." While the explanation made sense, something about it didn't sit right with Sword. He could sense there was more to the story, but in his current state of pain and the urgency of their situation, he decided not to press the matter further. Shield shifted his focus, observing Sword's condition. "You are hurt," he noted. "Looks like 2nd-degree burns, so you may be lucky." Sword, trying to maintain a sense of humor in the midst of adversity, quipped, "No, she's lucky." He pointed to Lucky. "I'm just in pain." Lucky, her expression heavy with grief for their fallen comrades, couldn't help but be drawn to the loss they had suffered. Sword reached out, placing a comforting hand on her shoulder, and suggested, "Why don't you help Taka? I'm sure there's all kinds of tech here that'll cheer you up. I'll take care of them. Don't worry." Lucky, her eyes filled with a mixture of sadness and gratitude, looked up at Sword for a moment and nodded silently before joining Taka to investigate the technology in the room. With Lucky's technical expertise, the lights flickered back to life in the facility, revealing the aftermath of their intense firefight. Shield, ever vigilant, moved methodically through the area, ensuring there were no lingering threats or surprises. Viper, meanwhile, attended to Sword's injury, applying a salve to the second-degree burns. Sword, in his typical fashion, loudly expressed his discomfort, making light of the situation to ease the tension. As the crew searched the facility, they uncovered a trove of technology and information that would alter the course of their mission and, indeed, their lives. The lightly guarded nature of the facility now made sense. While the military might have deemed the equipment obsolete, in the outer world, these discoveries were nothing short of God tier. The group gathered around, taking in the significance of what they had found. Raven began deciphering the data they had access to, her fingers dancing across holographic displays. The others inspected advanced weaponry, experimental gadgets, and valuable resources that could not only give Aeon a significant advantage in their fight, but the money they'll make from the black market will be a game changer. As the crew continued their exploration of the facility, they stumbled upon a treasure trove of valuable items. Bullets, a rarity in their world, were now in abundance, potentially transforming them into wealthy traders. However, it became apparent that ammunition was just the tip of the iceberg. Crates of exquisite armor, weaponry, holographic displays, microchips, and batteries filled the space, showcasing the advanced technology that had been hidden away. Among the remarkable discoveries was a tunnel leading into the earth, connected to a hidden mountain entrance. Lucky, utilizing her hacking skills, delved into the facility's system and unveiled the purpose of this tunnel. It served as a discreet route for transporting equipment in and out. The crew's eyes widened as they realized the implications of this clandestine infrastructure. Their excitement reached new heights when they uncovered a parking lot containing a flatbed truck, a perfect means of transporting the spoils of their heist. The crew quickly set to work, selecting the most valuable items and loading them onto the flatbed. The prospect of hauling away this technological bounty filled them with a sense of accomplishment and anticipation. As they prepared to leave, S.H.I.E.L.D. took a moment to address the group. "We've hit the jackpot here, but we need to be strategic. We can't risk attracting too much attention. Let's secure what we can, and then we'll plan our next move. Raven, get everything you can from the facility's database. We need to know what other surprises might be waiting for us." Raven nodded, her fingers dancing across holographic interface as she extracted valuable information from the facility's database. The crew, now laden with advanced equipment and a truck full of technological wonders, prepared to make their way back to the surface. The crew, now laden with their technological haul, made their way back through the desert, floating silently on repurposed military-grade hovercrafts. The desolate landscape stretched endlessly around them, the remnants of a world that once relied on wheeled vehicles for transportation. "Remember when people drove cars with wheels?" Taka quipped, a hint of nostalgia in his voice. The crew chuckled, and Sword joined in. That would make desert traversal quite difficult. As they continued their journey, the hovercrafts gliding smoothly over the sandy terrain, they eventually reached a location marked by hills and sand dunes. It seemed like a fitting place to lay their fallen comrades to rest. With a solemn determination, they halted and took a moment of silence, paying their respects to those who had sacrificed their lives for the cause. After marking the GPS coordinates for the makeshift burial site, the crew knew they had to press on. The journey back to the safe house was still a considerable distance, and they needed to get there swiftly. The flatbed truck, now filled with their valuable plunder, became a symbol of both victory and loss. Upon returning to the safe house, the crew was met with astonishment from those who had stayed behind. The underground area, carved out over the years, provided a secure space to conceal the flatbed from prying satellites in the sky. The crew quickly unloaded their newfound treasures, the advanced technology gleaming in the dimly lit underground chamber. As they gathered around the holographic table, S.H.I.E.L.D. took charge once more. "Raven, what did you find in the facility's database? Anything that can help us in the long run?" Raven, fingers dancing over holographic interface, began to relay the information she had extracted. Details about the facility's security protocols, potential hidden caches, and even references to other rebel groups operating in the vicinity came to light. The crew listened intently, absorbing every piece of valuable intel. The underground chamber echoed with a mixture of celebration for their success and the somber reality of the sacrifices made. Little did they know that the discoveries in the facility would set them on a path toward even greater challenges, pushing the boundaries of their rebellion and reshaping the fate of their world. Sword went outside and sat on the patio, surrounded by the quiet darkness of the late hour. He took a moment to absorb the tranquility. The high walls provided a sense of seclusion, a rare luxury in a world where privacy was a precious commodity. The night sky stretched above him, adorned with the brilliance of countless stars. Exhausted from the day's activities, Sword closed his eyes and allowed himself to momentarily escape the burdens of his responsibilities. He focused on clearing his mind, pushing aside the weight of the rebellion, the struggles, and the losses. Instead, he directed his awareness upward, connecting with the vastness of the universe. In that serene moment, as he contemplated the beauty of the night sky, Sword began to count his blessings. The quietude of the safe house, the camaraderie of the crew, and the success of their recent mission all played a part in creating a sense of peace within him. The universe seemed to embrace him, if only for a fleeting moment. Unbeknownst to Sword, his meditative state had attracted the attention of an unknown visitor. Beyond the veil of the night, in stars themselves, someone observed the rebel leader in this rare moment of introspection.